Cannabis Connection in the house.
20 boys.
This is the Extreme Retro Review for ECW. December 7th, 1996. Extreme Retro Review number 236 is Holiday Hell. 1996 edition. As always, greatest ECW podcast in the known and unknown multiverse. Gotta give a shout out to my boy, Shim.
What up, Shim? What you doing? Oh, shit, y'all just recreated the multiverse. Been there, done that. Try to catch up.
As my partner in crime is alluding to, the Extreme Retro Archive. Shout out to Earth 4. Just passed the Niggas with Attitudes title tournament. Recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 83.
You know what I'm talking about? You're welcome. Man, that was so long ago.
Do you even remember when we did the Niggas with Attitudes title tournament?
I do. One thing I do remember is we recorded it in Bravo.
That is true. Gonna pass it off real quick to the StreetSmarks Audio pay-per-view predictions champion for the 288 Legion of StreetSmarks. I now present to you Hot Stuff Hollywood.
What's up, everybody? I appreciate y'all joining us this week for the Holiday Hell 96 Extreme Retro Review brought to you by us. Before I go ahead and get down into the nitty and the gritty, Hwould, what were your thoughts of this show, my brother?
So when I originally wrote up this review, you know what I'm saying, it's December, and I'm just hastily trying to get through 1996 and shit, you know what I'm saying? We didn't recount all this shit for the whole year.
Way more than Shim and his crew.
So I'm vigorously writing this shit, so I wrote it up. But then we just did the review for Mass Transit Incident, recounted by us, Extreme Retro Review number 233.
You're welcome.
And you had said something about Sandman match that it should have been on a bigger show.
Right.
And I know that when I look back and watch this show again, in preparation for the review, I thought about it and I said, you know what? This whole show is basically the culmination of Mass Transit, you know, because, you know, the majority of the nerds are not going to watch Mass Transit. They have no capability of watching it.
This is true.
And they're not going to even be able to see Holiday Hell. They're only going to watch clip shows and shit. You know? So when we're watching Holiday Hell 1996, and it's piecemeal put together form, I'm looking at it and going, this is a continuation of Mass Transit. A lot of these matches repeated themselves and had similar finishes and similar layouts to them. I mean, obviously, Raven and Sandman fought at Mass Transit, but they fought at Holiday Hell and Barbed Wire. Louis Spicoli and Brian Lee fought as well at Mass Transit and pretty much had the same match, but with a twist. Outside of the gangsters and the BWO shit, it really wasn't nothing bad on this show. It was a possible reformation of the Triple Threat. Shane, again, is the heel of the year. With match of the night honors. And a sleeper match with RVD and Taz. And obviously, Raven and Sandman and Barbed Wire. I give this show a thumbs up.
Well, let's go ahead and dig a little deeper, shall we? So the show starts off with little Guido in the ring. He's more or less addressing JT Smith's absence, or if you want to call it a vacation, courtesy of Two Coat Scorpio, which happened at November to Remember 1996.
Recounted by us, Extreme Retro Review number 231.
You're welcome. Not only is he's talking about, but he's basically burying JT, talking about if he ever comes back to ECW and gets into the ring, he's going to kick his ass. His partner for the night is the one, the only, Davey Jericho. But going forth, since he is now, I guess, an honorary or a new member of the FBI, he is Little Guido's paisan. So he is Davey Paisano. Oh boy. So they're facing off against Bubba and Spike. Looks like a little bit of the matches clip. The crowd, it sounds like about 2 people are chanting, "We want JT." Most of the match, Spike Dudley, he's getting beat down. They're waiting for Bubba to make the hot tag. He does. He drops a couple Bubba cutters, as Joey Styles calls them. He goes into the corner. Spike Dudley climbs the corner, climbs up on top of Bubba's shoulder. Flying splash over both of these little motherfuckers. 1, 2, 3 for the dub. Hwould, your thoughts?
So I'm not going to say that this match was great, but it wasn't bad either. It was completely inoffensive. It was formulaic, but I loved the pre-match spiel with Guido taking control of the FBI and saying that the FBI will never die. Never die. Shout out to J. Edna Hoover. Never die. Never die. I love the mismatch.
J. Edna.
I love the match pairing of Davey, Tyler, Morton, Paisano, and Little Guido. 2 little shit-eating heels and shit going against Spike Dudley and Bubba Ray Dudley. I love the pop-up Bubba cutters. Sign guy had a sign in the back that said Diamond Dallas Who.
Oh my God.
But ironically, Bubba Ray Dudley then did a hand sign eerily similar to Diamond Dallas Page's Diamond Cutter, which also references the all-seeing eye.
Stay woke.
I gave it 2.5. It wasn't bad.
Oh man, so next up we have Brian Lee versus Louis Spicoli with Cuck Candido on commentary.
Primetime Brian Lee, also known as the Undead Bulldozer, Brian Lee.
Also known as the Real American Badass. The main takeaways from this match were, alright, so Pee-wee, he gets thrown around like a rag doll at the beginning of the match.
Allow me. You're looking at this match a little bit negatively. I think this shit is brilliant. Because again, it's the same match as the match they had at Mass Transit, but with a little twist. Shout out to Shamalama. Yeah. So Pee-wee has his shirt tucked in, right? Uh-huh. And Spicoli and Brian Lee are fighting back and forth. Again, like you said, Spicoli's coming in and he's throwing Louis away, but he's grabbing him by the shirt and throwing him away to release the tuckage of his shirt. Uh-huh. So you got 2 things happening. You got Pee-wee with the untucked shirt, but he's already thrown the fuck away. So Brian Lee hits him with the fork.
Right.
So now Louis bleeding. Brian Lee is beating him all over the fucking arena. Louis cut open. He can't see.
Yeah.
He gets the quickest of comebacks, but he fucks around and DVDs Pee-wee.
Right.
He DVDs Brian Lee. Uh-huh. Cuck on color runs down, starts jumping on Louis. He gets the DVD. Meanwhile, the franchise Shane Douglas pulls the referee's shirt off of Pee-wee, puts it on. He gets into the ring, DVDs Brian Lee one more time. Franchise makes the count 1, 2, 3. Just like in Mass Transit, Louis blinded. He thinks he's got the win. He wants his hand raised. Shane Douglas is over here laughing and shit the entire time. Louis like, hey man, raise my fucking hand.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I have to overcome all these odds and shit. My face leaking and shit. I got stabbed with a fork 10 times. The fuck, nigga?
This motherfucker looks up, clears the blood out of his eyes. He sees that it's Shane. They trading shots. DVD tease goes into the motherfucking primetime slam. Pee-wee from damn near outside the ring. Can't even see the motherfucking shoulders down. Counts 1, 2, 3. Brian Lee wins. I gave it 3.5. Franchise immediately kicks Pee-wee, dumps him. I bumped it up to a 4. So now they're beating up on Louis, right?
Right.
None other than Anthony comes out. Anthony gets the quick little shine. He gets clipped. This nigga gets demon dropped through a table on the outside of the ring. Franchise is talking shit. I bumped it up to a 4.5, and we have the possible reformation of the triple threat. This shit was glorious.
Oh man, I was gonna say this was that I didn't know the whole deal was to untuck Pee Wee's shirt and shit. It just that broke referee logic for me, but the rest of it was awesome to me. So you know what I'm saying. I was gonna give it angle of the night actually. Yeah. They teased it's triple threat as all three men slap high fives in the ring to end the segment.
I loved it. It was amazing. Shane is the heel of the year. Period. He's been the heel of the year since Heatwave 1996, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 207.
You're welcome. And now we get to what Hwould teased as a pretty good match. In my opinion, this was not only the match of the night, but I would like to throw it into the category for the 1996 Sullies as a match of the year contender.
Wow.
This match being Rob Van Dam versus Taz. So we got Taz coming out. He's being led by Bill Alfonso. They're full on orange and black attack. He got Team Taz with him and shit. And for such a little man and shit, I have to say he did a great job of creating an aura about him and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Taz can really whoop some ass and shit. So he's out with his squad. Bill Alfonso's on the whistle. He ends up getting on the mic, talks a little shit. They're going to have a great match. RVD is booked strong. They exchange moves. RVD's flipping around and shit. This motherfucker does a moonsault from the top rope to Taz, who's on the outside. Looked like Taz might have smashed his head on the concrete, but he was cool and shit. There was one part in the match when they was throwing chairs at each other, and it looked like especially Rob Van Dam, when he was throwing them at Taz and shit, like I was like, is he mad at Taz or something? Like, is this go wrong or something?
This, at that point, is when the match turned around for me. Okay. Because the beginning of the match was pretty much all Taz. You know what I'm saying? He's throwing him the fuck around. RVD's getting a little couple kicks and shit in, but the beginning part of this match is all Taz. Once the chair shit started happening, they start tussling with the chair, and RVD threw the fuck. What happened was he gave him a weak chair shot. Crowd booed. So then he whipped him into the corner. He came out of the corner and threw the fucking chair right in his face.
Yeah.
Crowd erupts. RVD is like, yes. And I believe at that point is when the crowd got into RVD. Like, I'm not saying he wasn't over before then, but right then and there was the moment like, oh yeah, we're fucking with this motherfucker right here. Because it was just like a move, it was just a whole fucking turning point because, again, he's been fleshing out this chair-infused offense. He's been getting it off against Crawford and LaFon. He's been getting it out, against the Eliminators and the Gangsters. But Taz has, been built up over the last year and a half as the real fucking deal. So when he hit that fucking Van Daminator on Taz, I was like, oh shit. I know Taz doesn't lose for a while, but I was like, oh shit, for real.
Yeah.
But again, this goes back to the whole history between RVD, Taz, and Sabu.
Right.
Because Joey had noted that, Taz told RVD about Sabu's weaknesses. RVD gained respect for Sabu, so Sabu stooged off Taz's weaknesses. So now they're telling his story, and the story is leading into the big match, as opposed to the big match leading into the story. So now you're looking at these motherfuckers like, okay, RVD just traded, wins with Sabu over the summer.
Right.
Taz has been running roughshod all year. Who the fuck's gonna win?
Yeah.
This is big fight.
You telling me to me it had a big fight feel because like I said, I was into it. Despite after all the chair shit and shit, Taz finally manages to catch RVD with a Tazplex. And like so many countless foes before, he locks in the Kata Hajime, the dreaded Taz mission. But unlike his other countless foes, RVD, he doesn't tap right out. He doesn't pass right out. This motherfucker is fighting and crawling and backflipping all around that ring while Taz still has it locked in. He's trying to do everything he can to get out of that Kata Hajime. And after what seemed like maybe an eternity of him going from rope to corner to He tried this move. He did the Bret Hart kick off the turnbuckle, and it just wasn't enough. And finally, he slowly began to lose consciousness. The referee, not being sure because RVD was unresponsive to his audible commands, began to lift his arms. He raises his up one time. It collapses down limply. He lifts it up a second time, and just like before, it falls lifelessly down to the mat. He lifts it up for a third time. In wrestling, you never know, because so many times after that arm goes up for the third time, you find out the wrestler has just a little bit life left in him. But not this time for Rob Van Dam, because for a third time, his arm came crashing down to the mat, like a giant pine tree being chopped down in the forest. He met his demise to the Kata Hajime, to the human suplex machine, to the orange and black attack, to Taz. Hwoud, your thoughts?
I wrote that this motherfucker sold like Shawn Michaels in the ankle lock against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21. It was forever. But it was a great fucking match. Yeah. Like I said, goofy selling aside in the early parts and that goofy selling of the Taz mission towards the end. I gave this 3 3/4, but the goofy selling hurt a potential classic.
See you at the Sullies. So we have Devon, Dudley, and Axel Rotten standing in the ring, looking goofy. I'm guessing at this point they're getting ready to wrestle in a tag match. And out comes none other than the Blue World Order.
Fucking Christ. The fucking BWO again. I'm telling you, I can't take these geeks serious.
You're not supposed to.
No. Stay tuned.
Oh, God, please no. So they're on the mic, they're doing their spiel. I didn't write down every little thing they said, but for those of you who don't know.
All right, so allow me. Devon and Axel's in the ring. Axel, again, conveniently missing the mass transit incident. So he's there. Hey, Axel. BWO come in, and they're flogged by 3.5. Who's Rob Feinstein doing the 6 gimmick? Because he has the camcorder and shit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Crowd's kind of going BWO. I don't know. Who cares? I hope Devon kills them. Yeah. Geek Ortiz is in the ring. Like I said, Rob Feinstein's in there, and they all got the official BWO t-shirt, even though they're wearing the airbrush cutoff shit. They can't even shield the shit right. Stevie's going, buy the shirt, buy the shirt.
Well, wear the shirt.
So the BWO immediately gets beat up, and then the gangsters hit the ring.
So the gangsters hit the ring and immediately start beating the fuck out of Devon and Axel. True to the gangster style, they're whooping these niggas' asses while their theme music plays over the house speakers. I'm starting to learn to live with it. It used to drive me crazy, but they just insist on doing it. Just keep on just pushing it into my brain and shit. So, all right, you want to play these motherfuckers' theme song for 3 minutes? Be my guest. Devon and Axel do get a little comeback after getting their ass whooped for a hot minute. But out of nowhere, Stevie kicks Curtis Axel. Axel Rotten this shit. Motherfucking gangsters. New Jack, he hits his finisher, where he climbs to the top rope with a steel chair, drops it down on Axel. 1, 2, 3 for the victory. Then the gangsters grab blue shirts. New Jack puts one on, and it's a Blue World Order shirt.
Negative infinity.
New Jack gives the X signal. The crowd points on high to the Blue World Order, giving the X symbol back to the gangsters.
Negative infinity. That shit was awful. It was clipped as shit to begin with. Then, okay, so the BWO get beat up, right, to begin the match. Gangsters come through, beat up Devon and Axel. Then the finish is Stevie coming back to kick one of the motherfuckers for the power slam diving chair combo. That's a done all in and of itself. Then this motherfucker puts on a BWO t-shirt to put over the BWO.
Yeah, they official now, fam.
Negative infinity.
Oh man, I love this segment for one simple reason. That's because I couldn't wait to hear your reaction with the fucking gangsters of all people, especially after Taz checked these niggas last week and shit.
That nigga bitch slapped one of them niggas. And then the gangsters still need help? The fuck?
Oh man, I was dying laughing the whole fucking time just because I couldn't wait to hear this reaction and shit. So next up, we have the franchise Shane Douglas. He's in the ring with his tag team partner and his fuck buddy, Francine.
I love this match. I think this was the best fucking match in the world. Franchise is sauntering the fuck out. Francine is looking completely skankalicious. The crowd is chanting, "Little Dick." Francine is over here motioning to the crowd that he is huge. They are giving it to the franchise and Francine. I am in awe of the heat that this motherfucker is generating.
So the ring announcer's trying to get Tommy Dreamer announced, but Shane Douglas, first he interrupts the theme song, tells the motherfuckers in the back to not play it. They get Geek Ortiz to introduce him and stuff. And then he's getting ready to introduce Tommy Dreamer. He cuts him off again so he can properly introduce a true lady, and that being Francine. And then finally he gives the monkeys in the back permission to bring out Tommy Dreamer. And he does with Beulah McGillicuddy.
Awesome. Just awesome. Even though the fans popped for Beulah and Tommy when they came out and shit, the heat that this motherfucker was giving, it was just, I like old school natural heat.
Yes.
And he's killing it.
And I think the crowd was more excited for Beulah because, you know, she does have some very nice titties. So, yeah, they finally come out. They exchange words on the microphone. They both talking a little shit to each other. The match is getting ready to start. It hasn't quite started yet because Tommy's saying one last thing to Beulah. And franchise, go ahead and introduce this, the television championship belt to the back of Tommy Dreamer's head. It was a very nice introduction. It went well because Tommy Dreamer was in a whole lot of pain, which I was very excited about. So they fight back and forth, you know, a whole match. Basically, the dudes are working most of the match. Tommy does end up grabbing Francine by the pussy at one point, which was blurred out.
The crowd chanted, "We want girls." I noted, if only you nerds had game.
Finally, when Tommy had finally got Shane into the figure four, Beulah was in the ring and shit because of making sure Francine wasn't doing nothing. She had just knocked her off the apron or whatever happened to her. But then Francine returns. She climbs to the top rope with a cookie sheet, smashes Beulah McGillicuddy into her head and shit. The shit is glorious. She poses, you know what I'm saying, because she's a great valet. Tommy, he grabs her, puts her in the pile drive position, does this thing where he spins her around and shit with his head right by her pony poon because he probably can't wait to eat it. Because he's probably waited till he became a pro wrestler before he finally started getting exposed to some pony poon. Because you could tell by the type of simp that he willingly and always seems to jump into as a character in wrestling and shit. So that's the real Tommy Dreamer coming through, except for when you're a simp in real life, you don't get pussy. You just get played. Come on, somebody. He's teasing the pile driver with his face by her pussy. So he gets to the camera side where her body is facing us, and it's blurred, so I'm guessing her titties come out, which I'm very disappointed about.
Stay tuned.
Fuck you, Tape Trader show. I blamed it on the Tape Trader show. So he power drivers Francine. He's getting ready to moonsault onto Francine, but Beulah, that looked like she was mad at Tommy for a hot second. I thought he was mad. She was mad because he's about to eat her pussy or something, but she was upset because she wanted to go ahead and do the moonsault, which she did.
She was off.
Yeah, she landed on her legs and shit.
She landed on her legs.
And then this dumb bitch and this dumb cuck, they stand there and instead of pinning Francine and winning the match, because that's what they're there to do, to win this match, they immediately, after the moonsault, well, she starts to pose. She hits the Tommy Dreamer pose. This bitch-ass nigga, the wrestler, mind you, the one who should remember they're in a fucking match, walks up behind her. He starts posing too. You know what I'm saying? Shane Douglas, the true. This is why he's the television champion. This is what you learn when you have the tutelage of a great leader or a mentor like the King of Philadelphia and my own personal hero, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, the founder of Hot Stuff International. When you come from that type of training, you have the ring savvy and wherewithal to take advantage of the situation. And Shane knocks Tommy Dreamer in the back of the head, gets him out of the way, gets up behind Beulah for a hot second, grinds a little bit. She turns around. He greets her with a belly-to-belly suplex, pins her, hooks the leg, locks the other leg, makes sure she doesn't kick out. 1, 2, 3. The franchise and Francine win. Fuge, your thoughts?
This match was amazing. It was amazing. This is perfect booking because it highlights how much of an idiot Tommy Dreamer is. Simping all the way from Simp Town. After Beulah hit that shit moonsault, he's over here hitting his fake-ass martyr pose. Yeah. Shane Douglas, the smarter wrestler of the two,
clearly
smacks Dreamer behind the head. He turns into the putts. Beulah turns around, hits the B2B, hooks the fucking leg. It was glorious. He leaves, carries Francine out, and might I say, she has no ass at all. Just, it was an ironing board from that thong. Like, you can see the whole thong. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Most bitches, they put a thong on. You can't even see that motherfucker once they get into the cheeks and shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or the intergluteal cleft, as I learned the other day.
Oh, shit, the intergluteal cleft.
Yes.
All right.
You can see all that shit with Francine. You can see the whole fucking thing. I said, what the fuck is that about? I gave it 4.5. See you at the Sullies.
Oh, shit. Nice. Going from awesome to not so awesome, we have the main event of the evening. On one hand, I am glad that this is the main event because it is for the World Heavyweight Championship. It is the challenger, the enigmatic Raven, facing off against the multi-time champion, the Sandman, in a barbed wire match. I'm disappointed because, for one, I'm just not a fan of barbed wire matches. That's just personal preference of mine. And then on top of it was a very sloppy match. Like, they tried a lot of shit that they probably didn't have to try and could have had a better match just because, you know, so like there's one spot, fucking Sandman, he had just wrapped himself in barbed wire, set Raven up on the table and shit. Tried to run and jump on Raven. Raven moved, I'm sorry. And then he just, when he went through the table, it just looked like he went through it awkwardly and shit. And it just looked just fucked up and shit. I don't know, my analysis, it'd probably be not all that insightful. So, Fuge, if you want to share your thoughts about this match.
So Joey notes that Raven has never been in a barbed wire match before. Meanwhile, Sandman has been in 2 barbed wire matches in 1995. The first being at Barbed Wire's Hoodies and Chokeslams, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 131.
You're welcome.
And the second one on Extreme Warfare Volume 1. Stay tuned.
Oh shit.
I didn't see any flunkies, so it showed to me that either they were going to do a run-in at the end, or this was just going to be straight up mano y mano. And it turned out being one-on-one. Where you saw it as being sloppy, I saw it as brutal. The spot that you explained when he wrapped himself around the barbed wire, I hearkened back to the whole storyline between Raven and Sandman. Him taking his wife, or his ex-wife, thank God.
Good job, Sandman.
Taking his son, you know what I'm saying, and brainwashing him. And thinking that the character of the Sandman would be the type to do anything to hurt Raven and to keep the world title. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, you know, they're already in a barbed wire match. It's not like it's gonna be fucking headlocks and wrist watches and shit. You know, it's gonna be some blood. So it's okay for the sloppiness to come through on a barbed wire match because it's fucking barbed wire. It's not, you know, the steel cable that you're used to bouncing up and down the rings and shit, you know? They do some innovative shit. He wraps himself in barbed wire, goes through a table. LOL. There's a botched table pile driver, and it leads to the bad DDT finish and new ECW World Heavyweight Champion, Raven. I gave it 3 1/4.
3 1/4.
Again, I was more focused on the whole story and the culmination and knowing where this was going to lead to Raven getting back the title. And also, I knew the backstory. If I ever get back to the Extreme Project, I'll talk about how Raven never been in a barbed wire match, and after his sabbatical and rehab, Paulie told him he was going to have he was going to get the title back, but he had to do it in a barbed wire match, and he felt that Paulie was just trying to test him to see how much he wanted to be the champion. So he did the barbed wire match, and he said he was tentative at first, but after he did the barbed wire match, he was like, this ain't no big deal because it's a work. I must note that Raven had his nipples wrapped up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. What was that about?
I'm thinking possibly he had nipple rings.
Oh.
He didn't want to get them inadvertently caught up.
Jeez.
But that's Holiday Hell.
Yep. So overall, I did enjoy this show for the most part. It was pretty solid from beginning to end. World title match kind of let me down a little bit, me personally. Hwould loved it. Match of the year contender, Rob Van Dam versus Taz. If you like Gaga, check out the Brian Lee and Louis Spicoli, as well as the tag match with Shane Douglas, Francine versus Tommy Dreamer and Beulah McGillicuddy.
You have been butchering that bitch's name.
I know.
All show.
Struggling like a motherfucker.
Just say Beulah, nigga. Damn.
Beulah McGillicuddy.
Just say Beulah.
Beulah McGillicuddy.
Or the bitch.
Big titty bitch. Big titty white bitch.
I know you like them.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and take it on, send it on back over to the Hwoud, who's going to do his thing.
In a few days, we follow up with the clip shows that are the rest of 1996, starting off with the December 10th, 1996 show, Extreme Retro Review number 237. But until then, always know life is a work, so make sure you get paid for it. We out. Peace.
Peace.